Warm welcome to this afternoon. Thank you for NTT Data to starting the session. After lunch, it's not an easy start, so thank you for taking that onwards and for the good insights you provided. So the headline of my presentation today is 5G, driving our journey from telco to TechCo. I think we heard that from NTT Data as well, developing into a tech company. And so 5G, what's 5G within Swisscom? We started our 5G journey as a telco. So driven by the demand, or the hopeful coming demand for speed, and definitely the demand on capacity. So if we look at the data traffic 2012, it looked like this. 10 years later, or in that case 8 years later, we had more than 50 times of the capacity demand, and what's not written in here, we had increased the speed by a factor of 100. That's the telco perspective. And the telco perspective gets even bigger. If we look on the younger ones, they have even an 8 times higher consumption rate. So yes, the telco perspective still matters. Capacity and speed are the key ingredients for the digital backbone that we operate. So how did we do that? We started as the first operator in Europe, and we've been quite proud of that, the 5G operations in April 19. And quickly, really, the first focus was wide. We wanted to connect as many people as possible, and within 8 months, we connected more than 90% of our population with 5G, and now we've got a population coverage of 99%. And then, right afterwards, started to increase speed, so increase or deliver 5G fast, TDD-based deployments, and even there we do have a coverage of more than 60% of our population coverage as of today. That is the telco perspective. But what's happening is the real transformation that is not visible. My team was proud saying to their neighbors, we are the first ones in Europe doing 5G. I hope they will be proud on what we're doing right now, but that might not be that easy to tell the neighbors. Because what's happening now is happening under the hood, like in the car industry. What we're changing really is principally the same change that is happening there from a fuel-based car and engine to an electrified car. From an outside perspective, it does have a steering wheel, seats, and it looks quite the same. But the way it operates is completely different, from mechanics to software. And that's what's happening here as well. And for that, we do have mainly 4 levers that we are working on. Simplification, automation, cloud nativeness, and last but not least, and most important even, our people and culture. So let me give you a quick insight into how we do that. If you want to transform, I think everybody knows that on every transformation process or digitalization of processes, don't transform a shitty process. In the same way, don't transform not a shitty network, but an old network. So simplification is key, otherwise we have a lot to transform. And we did that and do that quite radically, I would say. We phased out 2G last year, 7th of April. I know the date. And we will phase out MMS, for example, end of this year. And we already announced the phase out of 3G end of 25. That's quite radical, but sustainability is key. We need those frequencies, the budget, the power budget, to operate the more efficient networks we have, 4G and 5G, our workhorses. And so we are really focusing on that, not only on the visible network and access types, but also on platforms like MMS and others, really kick them out in order to free up and to focus, to be able to focus as a team. And how do we do that? One is we need to be clear and open with our customers. So we, even with a phase out of 2G, we promised them we will do a phase out of 3G, but there's one promise: you will get a heads up of at least 3 years. And in fact, we announced that in February, that we'll phase out by end of 25. And we not only talk about it, but obviously we consult them, transform them, be partner of them in order to really optimize their settings. And the second part, and I think that's as important, we make this a high priority. And a high priority means we celebrate. Once per year, we do have a phase-out party in technology. For every IT system, for every network, and we have phase-out champions, the ones who did the most, right? So we not only celebrate a connect win, assuming and hoping that it will happen every year, we do that on phase-out parties as well. And that's culture. And then automation. Automation is not only about operational efficiency. It helps, it supports. But automation really is a customer-focused aspect of how we do operation. Because automation helps us to increase quality, speed of innovation, and reliability. So we're doing quite a lot in order to get there. We address different levels of automation. We address resource orchestration as well as service modeling and service orchestration. Our goal is to manage our services on multiple clouds. Cloud infrastructures will change. I want to be able to serve all kinds of clouds or even hybrid settings. And I think that's a big mind shift. I want to increase the way we operate, the speed we operate. Today, I think we do mainly one big core release per year. I want to shift to once per month or once per week. And that isn't working in the same way we do it today. The interesting part is we're talking about becoming a software organization as mobile networks. The most software organization I have is Access. There we do that. There we're doing releases on a weekly basis. And we will enable by this becoming a truly digital telco or even TechCo by enabling orchestration. And CI/CD is just the underlying workhorse. Orchestration is more than that. Everything as code. We are renewing, for example, right now our IP infrastructure. Right now we're running, I think, 12 IP networks within Swisscom. We're harmonizing that into a single one. And we will not do that transformation, that migration to that single network without doing it fully automated. And fully automated means if I start a new CNF, it will request connectivity via API as code. We will get a full inventory and full observability based on the inventory. Something we're already nowadays quite proud of. We run a single inventory for mobile networks. Not many, but a single. But this will be now automatically filled, updated, corrected. And last but not least, this will enable us to do closed-loop automation, assurance, and using AI and ML. Even there, we're doing that today. We're running, I think, more than 25 closed-loop use cases in Access. Why is that? Because we can do in core, without having the capability to do CI/CD and configuration via that chain, we can't. So we will do that in the foreseeable future. In order to do that, cloud nativeness is the centerpiece of our industry transformation. We heard a lot on virtualization. I really dislike the word nowadays. Virtual still is, we're just transforming a physical box into a virtual box. Cloud nativeness is getting rid of boxes. And we as an industry, we're not there yet. Neither us as operators nor our suppliers. Because cloud nativeness means a true independence between the network functions and the underlying infrastructures, which we don't have as of today. which we even have less, is stateless network functions and independence of network functions of their configuration setup right at the start. In a true cloud-native world, a network function will be started, and if it doesn't work properly, it will be killed either manually or automatically. And a new one will start it to really serve the load we have. This is something we don't do, but imagine it, we would. What a different world of operations. But for that, we need to change the way we standardize as well. We do have black box standardization in 3GPP. We are not thinking in microservices, and that needs to change. And a quote kind of, we still treat them as pets. We still treat them as boxes. We have a defined set of our virtual EPG. We have 8 virtual EPGs running. I don't want to know the number anymore. I have EPG, a kettle of EPGs. We will benefit by that by ease of operations, up to self-healing, as I've said. We can do in-service upgrades if we're independent of the underlying infrastructure, which we cannot as of today. And that's costing us a lot of money, by the way, and resources. We will get rid of labs. I do remember when I talk to my teams, some of them are getting very, very nervous because they cannot put their hands on something beforehand, kind of thing. But that's the way it will be. We will have a lab for antennas, for sure. But other than that, we will get rid of labs because you can't cope with the speed of innovation if you run via a lab. And elasticity will be something we really will utilize. Today we say we're running our cores on cloud infrastructure. That is true from a part of a technology standpoint, I would say. It's a private cloud. But it's not true in the sense of business models. It's not true in the sense of elasticity. If I look at the usage throughout the day, the usage curve is very elastic. My CapEx is flat. And I dimensioned my data center to serve the peak hour with a high level of redundancy. It's not efficient. But this is how the CapEx-driven model has brought us to. And we will need to shift to a more OpEx and consumption-based model. That brings me to the last slide of my presentation, people and culture. And although it's the last, it has been actually the starting point of our transformation journey. I joined Swisscom 1.5 years ago, and one of the first things I started was what we called people journeys. I didn't talk about transformation at that point in time. I started that as the basis underlying principle. We need to transform ourselves. We need new skills. We do that with upskilling. We fight the war for talents, as everybody does. And then, interestingly, how to integrate the new hires with cloud-native skills and the experienced ones. In the past, the experienced ones trained the new ones. Nowadays, they train each other. Already that is a big shift. And the new hires, they don't aspire to stay with Swisscom for the next 20 years. If they have a high aspiration, it's 3 years. So how do I get them to the job within a few months? Then DevOps is a must. No lab, as I said. That's creating quite some insecurity. And we shift principles. In Telco, we do 5 nines or even beyond that. We make sure it won't fail. The cloud-native principle says everything that can fail will fail. We just make sure if it fails, the customer doesn't notice in the best way. And we believe in the closed-loop optimization, which is something you can touch. The fear of AI or ML is fading. Luckily, we are a quite data-driven company. We do have 300 data scientists working for us. So we have it in our culture already. Nevertheless, we need to convince people who optimize manually that something that is doing it automatically will do it at least as good or even better. Thank you very much.